Hi everyone, I'm Chloe Becker and I'm an intern at the Ignatian Solidarity Network as well as an artist. So to reflect this Easter Sunday, I'm going to lead us in a prayer journaling activity so that we can look back on our Lenten journey and as well as consider what this Easter joy means for us as we move forward into the future. So if you've never done a bullet journal before, it's pretty simple. It's basically just combining art with journaling so that we can reflect. And if you don't consider yourself an artist, that is no problem, as really we're just focusing on the journaling aspect. So all you're going to need is a piece of paper, a pen or pencil, and some colors at the end if you'd like to make it colorful. So thanks for joining us, and I hope that you enjoy. So we're going to start by drawing the outline of some ground. So you can just draw one line horizontally across your page, or I'm drawing two here to kind of give it some texture. But either way, I'm just drawing mine in pencil first to get that general shape, and then going back over the lines in pen. So on top of the ground we just drew, we're going to draw Jesus's tomb. So you can just follow along kind of with what I'm doing here, but it's basically just drawing sort of a half oval and then a bigger half oval above it. And it looks better if the lines aren't perfectly smooth, so really no need to be perfect here. So we're drawing Jesus's empty tomb as a reference to the gospel reading this Easter Sunday, as we're going to be reflecting on Jesus's resurrection through the lens of the Ignatian Solidarity Network's Lenten theme of steadfast love. So we are going to be building on our reflections from the Ash Wednesday prayer video. But if you haven't watched that video yet, this will still be a great reflection for you to look back on your Lenten experience and think about how we can continue to move forward in our work for justice, making sure that it is always rooted in a steadfast love. Feel free to pause the video now if you're still working on your outline, as we're going to start to move on to think about our Lenten promises this season. So in the video for Ash Wednesday, we thought about Lenten promises to commit to that revolved around growing in our relationships to justice work. In the ground space on your page, start to write down how you did with those goals. Even if you didn't set justice-oriented Lenten promises, consider how you did with centering your Lent this year on issues of injustice and the most marginalized. Where did you succeed to really commit time to putting in the work? And where did you maybe fall short? So maybe you did a really good job at having more conversations about injustice with those around you, but didn't quite read as much as you wanted to. Or maybe you focused more on one injustice, but didn't focus enough on a different injustice that you were hoping to commit more to. This should be specific to where you are right now. So just be honest with yourself and giving yourself credit for the work you've done, as well as holding yourself accountable for where you still have work to do. You can pause the video now if you're still working, as we're going to start writing within the sky. So based on what you just wrote about, we're going to write about how we can next move forward with our justice work. So based on the areas where you said that you fell short or could maybe use improvement, think of ways that you can better equip yourself to achieve those goals. So maybe you did really well with subscribing to an email campaign and reading and taking action based on those emails every day. you can continue doing that, but also maybe push yourself further to subscribe to an email for a different justice issue too. Or maybe you want to change your strategy. So maybe you weren't specific enough with setting aside time each week to really sit down and read and learn. Or maybe you want to start something new, such as joining a local action group, or donating your money somewhere new, or focusing on a different injustice that you aren't as familiar with. Again, this is very much tailored to your experience with justice work and how you want to carry the habits that you grew upon during Lent throughout the rest of your year. So again, you can pause the video now if you aren't yet done, as we are going to move on. So lastly, we're going to reflect on those who inspire us to stay steadfast in love, just as Jesus sustains us. Jesus' resurrection was the sustaining and inspiring force for the disciples to continue Jesus' ministry and legacy by living out the church. The resurrection still sustains us as Christians today, in giving us the hope needed to do the difficult work that Jesus' ministry requires of us. So within the tomb, we are going to write people, places, events, really anything that truly inspires you to stay steadfast in your work for justice, just as Jesus does for us. So I'm writing here as examples Sister Thea Bowman's speech to the U.S. Catholic bishops, the work of the Dacey Project, which is a student-run nonprofit to empower South Asian youth, my church community, and Toni Morrison as examples. But you should really think about who or what deeply gives you the hope that you need when you feel discouraged by the lack of progress or feel overwhelmed by the immense hurt of the world. Listing these here is a way for us to prayerfully come back to these modern-day appearances of Christ when we are feeling run down or hopeless in our justice work, so that we can be spiritually refueled to not give up. Finally, you can use the empty space on your page to continue reflecting, or as I'm doing here, you can add in some design around the page, which can also be a helpful way to further your reflection. I hope that this was a fruitful way to reflect this Easter on justice, and feel free to check back in with this video anytime that you want to revisit your commitment to justice work and think about how to move forward. I really appreciate you joining us today, and I hope that you all have a joyful and safe Easter.